Hi, welcome to another episode of Mortimer Woodworks. I hope you're all doing fine and enjoying this, well, cloudy day. It looks like it was going to rain today, so I've been in the workshop most of the day doing bits and pieces, preparing more wood for other projects for the future. Okay, so last time we went through chisels in the other tutorial. Today I thought I'll go through the different bits of a plane. So I thought I'd get a number 4 plane, which is a common plane, also known as a smoothing plane. This is one I've done up, which I've probably showed you in previous videos, but I'm going to show you the different points of it and what is what. Okay, so you'll probably find these in your class or in shops and stuff like that. They are cheap to pick up in shops, but I do find the older ones are a lot better. Yes, they're a little bit dinged up and stuff, but you can sort them out after lots and lots of work. This one is one I worked on quite a while back, whereas this one I'm in the middle of doing up. The handles are done, the blade's done, the bottom is done of the or the sole is done of this, but this is a badger plane, which is meant for another task. But we're going to go through the normal one today, the bog standard one, which is this one. Okay, so the different parts are, you've always got this bit here which clamps in the blade. Okay, let me just show you that. Yeah, blade. Okay, in fact, let me just angle you down a bit so you can see. Okay, so you've also got these bits here, right? So this is the knob or the main handle. Okay, then you've got the rear handle, which is nice to hold on to. Okay, so these will help you happily hold the plane quite nicely. When you do plane, you've got to hold it in a certain way, so your hands like that, so you've got more control over your plane. Okay, as you can see on the back wheel here is the gauge or the engagement wheel, which goes backwards and forwards. Okay, now if you go backwards, the blade shoots out. If you go forward with the wheel, the blade slides in. Different parts. Okay, when the blade is not in properly in the mouth, which is this little hole here, which is the mouth, if it's not lined up, there is a nice little flexy bit here. If you turn it one way, the blade will angle more out on the right. If you turn it the other way, the blade will angle more out on the left. That helps if you haven't put the blade in exactly level, which is always a good thing to use, especially when you're planing up bits of wood for them to be more level and straight. Okay, so let's get down to business. Right, first off, we have the lever cap. Okay, now in the lever cap, it will be stiff at first. You just got to tighten it up with a bit of oil and it will pray free quite nicely. Now, if I move this out, as you can see, there's the lever cap. Okay, nice and forward. What it does is, once it's in place with this nut here, or this screw, basically it will force itself down and lock everything into place. Okay, so that's a good one there. The second thing on here is the iron. That would be this bit here, or the breaker, the brake iron. Now, when you put these on or take them off, you unscrew here, okay, but you slide it back and rotate that way or the other way, bearing in mind not to break or damage the blade that you sharpened. Okay, so if I show you closely, when you do put it in, you can be as close as, not as close as possible to the edge, because obviously you've got to have the wood fibers go up over the actual iron itself. Okay, so if I give it close up, you will see. Oh, actually, let me get this close. Right, as you can see right on the edge there, I can point to it without cutting my finger, is the blade, and then the iron comes down just a mil, or just a mil, as you can see there. There we go. There you go. There's the blade above the iron where it comes down. The good thing about this is when you pick these up from a car boot or from a shop or anything like that, make sure that the iron is flat, or the chip breaker, sorry, let me get right, the chip breaker is flat along the edge of the blade, okay? And of course, always make sure that you've got 2 bevels. If I can get this right, there we go, 2 bevels, where you can see one there and one there. Okay, so the first bevel, it's like chisels really. So the first bevel will be 25. The secondary cutting bevel, which is the one further down, the thin one, which will be 30. Okay. Okay, so that is now over here. Second thing to remember. Now, I know I'm going a bit quick. If I am, I'm sorry. It's just I've got to do more extensive this for you guys later on. This is one I need to get through this one quite, not quickly, but for you guys to understand where I'm coming from. So, whereas these bits are basically easier to do, whereas this bit isn't. Right, so, and there are different types of number 4 planes, I have to say that. There are ones where there is a screw at the back, which are from the 1950s, whereas there are other ones where there is no screw and you've got to arrange this with that screw to arrange the distance of your frog. This is the frog, by the way, and it sits down onto the actual main plate, and that will be your sole, okay, or the foot of the plane. Right, so we have a number 14. This is a very old plane. I'm preferring older planes than I am to newer planes, mainly because we're thicker. There's a lot more sturdier. It's been around for hundreds of years, or yeah, hundreds of years, and you can't knock them. I mean, it's just a piece of piece of British engineering. It says made in England, but it's just a massive, decent pair of engineering. I mean, you just can't beat them. Right, so let's show you more about the frog. I'm sidetracking as usual. Right, so there's 2 screws here, okay? There's one there and there's one here, okay? Right, these ones, when loosened a little bit, will allow this to move backwards, forwards, or if you want to take it off to clean off underneath, which when you first get them, you will have to take it apart and clean it. When you do, just undo it, put it back, and then make sure you clean all this bit and underneath in the bed itself, okay? Right, so that's off. So when that comes off, it'll be easier. I'm going to unscrew this now for you guys to see what I mean by there is a bed underneath which this slots into. So if you bear with me a second. It's nice having magnetic screws. You don't lose anything. Especially if you have shaking hands. But it is always nice to have. Now, also after this, I will set it back up and show you from the get-go. Right, so basically, this is the frog bit, okay? And it sits nicely in this bit here, okay? As you can see, it's nice in there. All right, so these are quite, you've got to make sure they are flat into adjacent to each other. Obviously, I've still got a bit of paint pitting that I need to use on the sandstone, of course, or a bit of sandpaper just to get rid of this little bit here and there. So that will sit nice and secure and snug on this a little bit. As you can see, the paint is not dried when I put this on, so I was rushing, I think I was. Right, so now we're going to put it back together again. So say we've done the cleaning and it's all good. Oh, when you do the cleaning, I have to say this, it's always nice to have a brush or a toothbrush, okay? A toothbrush is good for when you want to get into the little gaps. We just give it a nice little brush in there, if you can see, okay? Right, so now we put that down. All right, so now we're going to put the seat in back. So the frog is now going to go back into this bit here. And I want to make sure, if you can see, that I have a nice slope. Where I have it, as you see, this goes like that. All right, so we want to have that a little bit more up front. So we want it about there. So you can just see the mouth of the actual thing itself. So let's go a bit more up. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to hold this in place and screw them back. So again, magnetic screwdrivers, you've got to love them. Right, not too tight, because you want to be able to move it backwards and forwards into the position that you want it to be. So we're just gonna, not too tight, nicely slope forwards or back, it's up to you. Bearing in mind the other models that have this, there's the younger models, should I say, this is an older model. There is a screw at the back. If I have one around, yeah. Okay, so you see this is an older model from before World War One. This one here is a younger model from the 1950s. Okay, now as you can see in there is a screw. Okay, whereas this model doesn't have it, because this is an older model. This is the younger chap, this is the older chap. Bearing in mind the older chap has more experience planing, whereas this one not so much, but it has more gizmos and gizzies, as it likes to say. Plus the wheel is a lot bigger than this one here. But it still basically is the same. Yeah, basically is the same. Right, so let's get back to this bit. So what I've done is I've wiggled it forward about, say about a mil. I would say about 3 mil from the edge. Yeah, 3 mil from the edge. And then just give it a nice little tight. Make sure it is level and tight. And you've got either gap either side. But if it fits into the frog, you will have that anyway. So it's not going to move around on you. Right, so that's nice and tight. So I'm shaking it. It's not going anywhere. Okay, so as I say, when we do these, I'll quickly show you what I mean by you undo it. Oh, bloody thing. Stiff as a board. Right, so I'm sliding back and I'm rotating round and then forward. Okay, and then it pops out. There's a hole there. So we slide in like this, down and rotate round. And as you see, we're here. Okay, now I'm going to move that to where I want it to be, which is, again, as you can see on there. So I might pull it a little bit more up. Okay. I'm holding it, making sure it's straight there. And then I will turn this screw, screw round, which will lock it more in place. Okay, right. When you put these in, make sure this is facing down. Okay, so we're going to put this in like this. Now I'm pulling this right back, so it needs to be as far in as possible at the back here. Yeah, okay, so we're in, slots in. Okay, now the screw does adjust here if you want this not to be too tight when you're locking it in. So when you lock it in, slide it down, make sure it's level, make sure your blade is fairly straight. Remember, you can always change it with this here. Okay, so just make sure it is level. Okay, and then lock. Okay, now when you've ever done these, okay, once you've done all this, before you clean this up, make sure your blade is set far back. Okay, preferably, because when you're planing and shining up your bottom of the plane, or the sole of the plane, it's better to do that, because then you've got weight in here, and for some reason a lot of woodworkers say it's better to keep everything in but the blade back, so you can make all this flat and shiny. As you can see, it's quite shiny. I'm getting a nice reflection. Apart from that, we're good. So if you like it and you want some more information about these planes or other planes, I will be doing other planes as well, like the Badger plane and the Jack plane. There's also a block plane that I will be working on as well. Yeah, so I hope you all enjoyed this. I will just angle you up a second. There we go. Yeah, I hope you've all enjoyed it. I can't wait for, hopefully, for us to get out of this. I'm missing college, missing my fellow students and my helpful and very friendly tutors. They're helping us at this point in time. They're emailing us, keeping us up to date with everything, trying to help us get through the course, even though they're having to be careful themselves. So I want to say thank you very much for what you're doing. We do appreciate it. We really do. Thursday, 8 o'clock, NHS, clap. Please, if you could do that, that would be lovely. We're doing it for the NHS, but I'm adding a bit more into mine. For instance, I want to clap not just for the NHS, but for every helpful service that's helping everybody. But we're also forgetting about the care workers, the elderly, the shop assistants and all that lot. So I'm clapping for everybody who's helping us on the front line. But the NHS is more on the front line than anybody else. So I will clap for you guys all the time. Bearing in mind I am with the Royal Marine Cadets, and at the moment I'm doing it in my uniform with my daughter. So, you know, all good. Anyway, if you like and I've been whittling on, and you want to see more of me whittling on, which is always fun, you know, it's always good. Hit the subscribe button, and that's down here somewhere, and the like button, which is always good. Share if you want to, and if you have any requests on a tool that you want me to go through, and you're not sure about something, just let me know by a comments, and I will try and arrange it into my different lessons and tutorials. So, all in all, have fun, be safe, and good luck to you all.